the Baltimore Zionist District has been a strong advocate for Israel. Our mission is clear. We are here to connect the community, educate, and bring you closer to the state of Israel. Tonight, we have chosen 4 speakers who are leaders within their field. Each one of our speakers will create a feeling of mutual cooperation as we work together and try to stop the horror of this old yet new phenomenon.
We need to come together as Americans. Fighting anti-Semitism is not solely just a Jewish issue. It is an American issue.
Here on this panel tonight, and the reason that you're all here, is really a good reason to put down our differences, our political differences, and work together.
We have to address the future generation. We have future leaders and future students.
As parents, if you have young children at home, would you let your children go into the worst neighborhoods of Baltimore unaccompanied? Of course not. What they do online, you absolutely don't know, and where they're going online, you don't know, and how they're being affected online.
We see the connection between online anti-Semitism, where we see just words that are posted online and targeted towards Jewish people, but we also see anti-Semitic acts applied online, as what happened with the Tree of Life synagogue attack, where far-right groups are able to share information, they're able to share logistics, they're even able to share ideas, which is one of the most dangerous aspects of anti-Semitism in the 21st century.
How many people have heard of TikTok? There was something last week where there was a young female here in America that did a video where on one side it said underneath her or above her it said Satanism, the other side it said Judaism. And the whole thing is, this is me, and it's being cute saying that, you know, I'm a Jew and I'm Satan at the same time.
Hello, we're twins. We're twins. Yes, sir. I am me. She is she. Except when I pretend I'm her. And when we switch, you can't tell which is which.
That went viral in less than 24 hours.
The threshold for a hate crime is different on Facebook than it is on Twitter.
One of the best things that we can do as parents is give our children a sense of values and identity.
Your kids are in a position to educate the anti-Semites in their school by being aggressive and answering back. It can't be, a defensive answer. It has to be an offensive answer.
The correlation between the lack of Holocaust education moves in tandem with the rise in anti-Semitism that we see in our country.
We've been persecuted for over 3,000 years. It's not just about the Holocaust. That will really present the case as to why the land of Israel is native and indigenous to all Jews around the world.
Once you start saying Israel doesn't have the right to exist, then that's when it becomes anti-Zionism. But you're allowed to criticize Israel's government, you're allowed to make pointed points, and that's okay, because that's what freedom of speech is. Yeah, that's what democracy is. You're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. And I think that's what's so important here. As kids grow up, you can say whatever you want, but you're not entitled to say that the Holocaust didn't happen. That's not your opinion. The Holocaust happened, and that's a fact.
At Mineola High School, they had a robotics competition. And it was a couple young kids, and they're sitting there making their presentation, and they had to give some background. So the student then said something about how, well, this building was purchased in 19 such and such by something Jewish union. They couldn't hear exactly what she said. Without batting an eye, you have a judge here, another judge here, the kids huddled around the table. Without batting an eye, this judge says, the goddamn Jews. This happened Saturday night. Today's Thursday. We heard about this, Americans AA heard about this at 2 o'clock yesterday. As at 2 o'clock yesterday, there was nothing being done. We got the video from one of the parents, we used the media to our advantage, and we pushed it out into the media. 24 hours later, that judge, who by the way is not a teacher and is not affiliated with that school, thank God, has now been barred from ever participating as a judge ever again. She is issuing a public apology for what she said, and she's being held accountable for what she said. That needs to be done. Every time you hear someone saying something that is anti-Jewish, it's anti-American. It's not just against us as Jews, it's anti-American. We have to go on the offense. We have to be aggressive. We have to be loud, and we have to hold people accountable for their actions.
There's funds and teachers are learning. We also need to have oversight of what these teachers are teaching. Just because they're taught to teach the Holocaust doesn't mean that they can teach about the Holocaust and Jewish issues. So going forward, there needs to be monitoring of what they're doing on a day-to-day basis, and that goes to the public school superintendent, that goes to the Department of Education. I think that's the next step in terms of what we do with the Never Again Education Act.
10th grade, South Florida, South Plantation High School. I was 16. My mom picked me up from school because I had an eye doctor appointment. I went to the eye doctor. The eye doctor dilated my eyes. I had the appointment. Afterwards, she brought me right back to school. I found out that my class was at gym class. And they were out on the field playing softball. They saw me, they said, you, Salami, that was my maiden name, Salami, you, out in right field. I was standing there waiting for the hour to finish, holding my mitt. Suddenly I hear, Salami, the ball. I look up. My eyes got blinded by the sun. I blacked out, flat on the grass. When I opened my eyes, the entire class was standing around me. I was laying on the floor, on the grass. They were all standing around me, including the coach. And I sat up and, I said, what happened? This kid spit on me, kicked me, and he said, you effing Jew, we lost the game because of you. It's like, when you can hear a pin drop and nobody talks. I look around, and I had friends in the class. Not a single person stood up to me or said anything, including the coach. I couldn't believe it. I got up, I walked away from them, changed, back to my regular clothes, and I left the school and I walked home. I got home and I told my mother what happened, and I said, we have to report this. My mother said to me, Rebecca, leave it alone. If you do something about it, if you say something about it, what you experience today will be 10 times worse. Just do nothing. And so I did nothing. And I carried it with me my whole life. And when I saw that anti-Semitism was really coming back so strongly, I thought about my own family and my own kids. And I don't want that to happen to them. I'm out there. I'm fighting this, tooth and nail. And that's what we all have to do.
So many minority groups, they kept on saying, but with Jews, it's a free speech issue. What? Kids are called effing Zionist pigs all the time, every day on college campuses. If they try to cross the campus with a quad wearing a kippah on their head or a Star of David around their neck, and they're spat upon and worse.
Talk to your kids and make sure they have a plan and they know what they're going to say, because 9 times out of 10, your kids are going to be, in those 4 years that they're there, confronted by anti-Semitism in a direct way.
Jewish students who aren't even Zionists are still targeted by the BDS movement. That's the definition of anti-Semitism.
I don't think there's one movement that boycotts any other country except the only Jewish nation in this world.
Do people ever say, well, I'm against the French government, but I like French people? They're always saying, well, this is just absurd.
If you want to target the only Jewish nation, it's anti-Semitism. There is no gray area. It's black and white. Anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism.
When kids from Students for Justice of Palestine and so many other organizations are saying, from the river to the sea, Palestine should be free, they're not talking about a two-state solution. They're not talking about whether or not there should be borders here or borders there, or whether or not the capital of Israel should be in Tel Aviv or in Jerusalem. They are talking about the elimination of the Jewish state. The Rights Council of the United Nations decided to blacklist companies that have anything to do with East Jerusalem or the West Bank or Judea and Samaria, if you will. This is really anti-Semitism. It's challenging the right of the people to exist, to live in our ancient homeland. I feel that Zionism is in our DNA. It was what our parents and our grandparents dreamed of. It's a thread that has kept us alive. So when you're saying you're anti-Zionist, you're saying you're anti-me, you're anti-my identity. It is the glue that has put us together, that has held us together for years and years. No, there is no distinction between anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism.
We have to get to not just Jews, all Americans in high school. We have to get to them so they understand what they're walking into on their college campus.
When a kid who's never even been to Israel or doesn't even necessarily support Israel but who's Jewish gets an eviction notice on their door because it's a mock of what they think the IDF is doing to Palestinians, that's anti-Semitism. And that's when the universities need to stop in and say, hey, anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism.
If you look at me right now, you have no idea that I'm a Jew. But the people, the Jews that are being attacked in New York, are visibly Jewish. Do I get dirty looks on the subway when someone sees my Magen David on a weekly basis? I look back and I say, everything okay? Yeah, is there a problem? It's the visible Jews that are being attacked, that are having their kippahs ripped off their head because people can look at them and say they're Jews.
We have 8 and 9-year-old kids in Manhattan running around painting swastikas all over buildings. Do you think they know what that really means? They don't.
Last week at Berkeley, there was a mural that was put up on the wall that had 3 horrible female terrorists that the Students for Justice in Palestine, and there are a whole alphabet soup of anti-Israel groups right now, especially at Berkeley, as you can imagine. And the Jewish students wanted to have a resolution in their student council against anti-Semitism, and it became this hate fest of anarchy and just antipathy towards Jews. And I cried for these Jewish kids. I think one of the best things that we could do is if you know of a kid that feels attacked either by his peers or his professor or the administration, Office of Civil Rights in the Department of Education, and they can go and they could file a complaint.
It can be tough, especially in New York. People are concerned about if I file a police report, then my name's going to be out there, and then they're going to come after me. It's a real problem. It's a real issue, but you have to report what's happening.
1 in every 7 people in this world hate Jews. Question: does anybody here know who said this? All these Jews must die. Anybody know who said that? It was the guy who killed those 11 innocent victims on Shabbat in Pittsburgh at the Tree of Life synagogue. As he was killing them, he didn't stop and ask them whether or not they voted for Trump or Clinton. He asked them if they feel that do you feel anti-Semitism is the same thing as anti-Zionism? They were Jewish. He killed them.
And not so long ago, 75 years ago in Europe, you know what? They didn't care if you were on the left or on the right as a Jew. They didn't care if you were religious or secular as a Jew. They caught you, you were going to Auschwitz. You were going to Dachau. You were going to Sachsenhausen. We all know how that turned out.
Why do we let this happen? Why don't we have enough self-pride to say, no, this is wrong. We have to call it out. We have to name it for what it is. It is a hatred. It is a racism.
We need to be holding our elected officials accountable that say not a word when these things happen. When Rashida Tlaib just retweeted this blood libel, not a single person said a word about it. I could care less whether it's a Democrat or Republican. At the end of the day, the leadership of these parties has to step up, and they're silent. They're not saying a word.
And everyone wants to, address anti-Semitism the hardest, as the kids say. The fact is, it takes all of us. It takes all of our organizations, the AJC or the WJC, that have a very global perspective and are willing to look at things from a big picture. But it also takes smaller grassroots organizations to also take care of anti-Semitism in their area or their district, and they know things that are going on that maybe the big organizations don't know.
It's going to get better when we, as Jews and as Americans, start saying that anti-Semitism has no place in America and that we do something about it. The future of this country is very, very bright. The future of us as Americans is very strong. We just have to remember we're human beings.
For so many people, politics has become their new religion, and that's wrong. What unites us is so much greater than what divides us. This is not a political thing. So it's not just for us as Jews, it's for America.
I'm willing to put down any political difference to help my fellow Jew and to attack this thing that's anti-Semitism.
We need all Americans in this country standing together with us from coast to coast, from north to south, with one unified voice to say that anti-Semitism has no place in this country.
We're all in this together, as you said. We all come from the same 3,000 years of persecution, and good things too. And we need to be proud of that, and we need to celebrate it and respect it and defend it.